Chapter 13 of Frigid Fracas by Mack Reynolds. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Dale Grothman. Joe was able to get around on auto crutches by the time she finally arrived, a stereotype visitor, done up brightly, a box of candy in one hand, flowers in the other. He could see her coming across the lawn from the visitors' offices. He wished that he had worn his other suit. His clothing was on the skimpy side when uniforms were subtracted. She came up to him. "Well, Joe?" He looked at the flowers and attempted a grin. "Lilies would have been more appropriate, considering the shape I'm in." Nadine said, "I've just been talking to the staff doctors. You're not in as bad a shape as all that. Some bones mending is all." The grin turned wry. "I wasn't just thinking of physical shape." He settled on the stone bench, which stood on one side of the walk he had been exercising upon when she arrived. For a moment, she remained standing. He looked up at her. "Well," he said. "I didn't break your condition," he said. "Am I still receivable?" She frowned. Joe said bitterly, "You told me that you were going to take the fracas in. And if my actions resulted in any casualties, you never wanted to see me again." She took the place next to him. "I did watch. For a time, the rest of the battle going on below was ignored, and you were full on lenses for at least 20 minutes. I've never been so frightened in my life." Joe said, "The first step towards becoming a buff. First you're scared, vicariously. But it's fun to become scared when nothing can really happen to you. It becomes increasingly exciting to see others threatened with death, and then actually die before you. After a while, you're hooked." She looked carefully at the flowers. "That's not exactly what I meant. I was frightened for you, Joe, not thrilled." He looked at her for a long moment. Finally, he breathed deeply and said, "Well, you'll never have to go through that again. I'm no longer in category military, I suppose you know." "It was on the news, Joe," she laughed without amusement. "In fact, I knew even before. Balt was tried too." "Balt? Your brother?" She nodded. "You first used your glider in that fracas for fodder and vacuum tube transport. Now that the Commission has ruled against gliders, Balt, now head of the family, has been both fined and expelled from category military for life. It hasn't exactly improved his liking for you." Joe hadn't heard of it. However, he had little sympathy for bald hair, nor interest in him. He said, "Why did you take so long to come?" "I was thinking, Joe." "And then you finally came?" "Yes." He looked away into the unseen distance. Finally, he cleared his throat and said, "Nadine, the first time I ever talked to you to any extent, I mentioned that I wanted to achieve the top in this status of our world. I mentioned that I hadn't built this world, and possibly didn't even approve of it. But since I'm in it, and have no other recourse, I must follow its rules." She nodded. "I remember. And I said, why not try and change the rules?" Joe nodded. He moistened his lips carefully. "Okay, now I'm willing to listen. How do we go about changing the rules?" The end of Chapter 13 of Frigid Fracas by Mack Reynolds. Recording by Dale Grothman.